Hello again, everybody. This is Andrea Stith from Barron County Extension Office. I'm here today to give you another Master Gardener Monday. So I'm going to start sharing my screen and we will look at the projects the Master Gardeners have sent me pictures of this week. So again, I just want to remind you that we feature the Master Gardener pictures and projects. They're from our members at the Barron River Area Extension Master Gardener Association. It's going to be projects that they're working on at home, or pictures of things that maybe they have done in the past that are coming up now in the spring. So this first one is going to be the Lilac Bush. This is Miss Pat Baker's. There's several Master Gardeners that had these, so we'll flip through them as we go. And so these are usually good to plant in the fall, but it's something you can do in the spring. Usually you have a little bit harder time with it taking. So it's something that if you want it now, you could, but I would wait till the fall to actually do it. They like to be planted in an open area, and usually you don't have to prune them until about the third or the fourth year, and you want to prune them after they have bloomed. So it's going to be right after the blooms have spent and start to fall off. It's going to be the best time to prune them. They are very low maintenance plants. These ones are Miss Jewel Lays. You'll see that most of ours are going to be a similar color, but they do come in white, violet, blue, true lilac, pink, magenta, purple. So you can get them in many different shades. And this one's going to be Miss Debbie Adair's. And she told me to tell you that in the background photobombing is her puppy Brownie. So make sure we're giving our pets some love as well as our plants. So definitely something that you want to plant in an open area with good drainage, and it can be used as a border plant. So that's something if you want to consider, but there are our lilac bushes. This is a seed starting station that is in the basement of our Master Gardener, Sharon Haynes. She said she has 20 flats of annuals, vegetables, and grasses started in her basement. So you will see her lights are very, very close to those trays, and that is going to produce the best plants. Oftentimes the biggest mistake that people make when they're trying to grow plants at home is they don't get that light close enough, and then they end up with leggy starting plants. And those are not going to be as healthy throughout the season. So make sure you keep that light fairly close, and you can move it up as you need to. You can see, I think on her, she has chains where she can, as they grow, she can move the lights higher away from them. So then we have Miss Pat Baker's Creeping Phlox. And she said that she started this one several years ago, and she just keeps dividing it. It is a great ground cover, also comes in many different colors. And it is going to be the best in well-drained soil, and it flowers better in full sun. So it's not that it won't grow well in a shady, part shade area, but it's going to have better flower, better blooms in a full sun location. Then we have some pansies. This one's from Pat Baker. I think we had some of these last week. And they are from her garden bed. These usually need to be planted about 6 to 10 inches apart. You can start them on your own. Usually you have to have a great amount of start time beforehand. So it's like 14 weeks before you want to put them out. So we would have to start these in probably January, February. So these are oftentimes used in early spring for some nice color as an annual in your garden, or you can actually use them in fall towards winter. They are a little bit cold tolerant, but they do have a tendency to freeze out at a certain point. So they will tolerate the cold, but they could have been damaged by some of our weather this past week. And there's also going to be a wide color range for these, and they're really popular mostly because of how easy they are to grow. So then we have the double daffodils, and these are also from Pat Baker's garden. And she said to tell you all that they are very fragrant flowers, and she even sent a smiley face with that. So if you all like those really fragrant flowers in your landscape, you might want to look at these. Now these are usually planted in the fall, and then they flower in the spring. So she had to do a little bit of prep work to get these in her yard. So she would have been planting these last fall or in the fall in the previous years. and they do have a tendency to try to come back. So that's a good thing. So you don't have to repurchase them every year. There are a lot of different varieties of daffodils, many different ways that they grow, and there are so many different varieties, it's hard to keep up. But you want to make sure if you're picking those in the fall that you want to plant, you want to pick healthy bulbs to put in the fall. Then we have these wild violets. Miss Pat said she found these when she was out in a walk in her woods near her home. So they do thrive in shade. Oftentimes that's why we do find them in the forest. They can be a weed to homeowners, so that's something to consider. If you see these in your yard, they can be a little bit hard to get rid of if you don't want them there. If you have questions about that, feel free to give me a call and we can discuss that. But they do have a tendency to come up in lawns that are poor growing anyway, so you have to get your lawn health up as well as trying to treat these weeds. So that's something to think about. And these are a perennial. They do have a tendency to come back, so that's why people with their lawns oftentimes will find problems from year to year. And then one of my favorites, and this is actually the ones in my yard, these are tulips. And these, I like the dark variety of flowers. So these are ones that are advertised as almost black. So this is what they look like. This is the same 3 flowers in both pictures. But you can see that the way the sun hits them and the way that light hits them makes them look a little bit different. So if you are somebody who likes dark flowers, tulips can be an option for you. And then there also are brighter options, as Miss Jewel Lay's garden here will show. Hers are in a container. Mine are actually in ground. So you plant these in the fall again, and they bloom in the spring. So it's a lot of what we had today was things that they put in the work earlier in the fall, and they're seeing and reaping the benefits of it now. So those are our tulips. There are lots of different varieties. There are hybrids, there are crossover colors. There's an endless amount of things you can do with tulips. I will say that oftentimes if you want those perfect rows that you see, straight lines and they all grow the same height, those are usually replanted every year and they are planted at the exact same depth. So these can come back, but if you want them to be perfect and perfect rows, you may have to replant every year. And then these are not as well tolerant as some of our other bulbs. So sometimes they do freeze out if we have a really harsh winter. So just be conscious of that if it's something that you're planting to try to regrow every year. And we have one here. This is a cave rock garden. This is our master gardener, Sharon Haynes again. And she said that she has all of her perennial plants in here. She has some pussy willow. She has blueberry bird netting on cages to kind of protect her blueberries. And then she also has some lavender paths and patches in there. So Miss Sharon actually does a lot of her growing for her business. So she'll do some dried basket arrangements and things. So a lot of what she grows in this garden are actually used in her business later on. So then I wanted to touch base on one. This isn't really a plant picture, although there are plants in it and in the background, but this one was really nice. I liked seeing this sunset from Master Gardener Pat Baker. So she took this picture while she was washing dishes, and she just looked up and noticed that this was such a beautiful view. So I want to take a moment to tell everybody that with all this stress and things around us right now, don't forget to slow down and look at some of the smaller beauties that life provides. And sometimes most of the beauties that I see are going to be provided by Mother Nature when we least expect them or at least need them or think that we need them. So just make sure you look up from what you're doing and notice your surroundings, because you might see something as beautiful as this. Again, if you would like your project or a project your family's been working on to be featured, please email them to andrea.stith@uky.edu, or you can tag the Barron County Cooperative Extension Service Facebook page, and we'd love to talk about what you've got going on and what your family's been doing. Thank you. You all have a great day.